Elon Musk taking on Apple in a series of tweets yesterday, claiming, quote, Apple has threatened to withhold Twitter from its App Store, but won't tell us why. He goes on to call Apple's App Store fees a secret 30% tax. Washington Post this week, Jim, did say that Apple was the biggest advertiser, at least in Q1.
Look, I've been involved with, started TheStreet.com in 96, always at odds once we got rolling in this decade, whether we should do Apple or not. You know, it was one of these things where you paid Apple and then you had a lot of subscribers, or you didn't pay Apple and you didn't have a lot of subscribers. I mean, now you could say, well, that's just unfair. I always said, hey, you know what? I'd rather have subscribers than not. And here he is again with the tax. Now, this is always like, you know, there's always someone at a company who says, I'm not paying the 30%. And that person is almost always wrong. In this case, Apple, big advertiser. I mean, this guy's as wrong as you can get. He should look at where his people are coming from, the high-quality people. They come from Apple. I mean, if he wants to do this verification thing, does he know what he's doing at all?
Well, he did get some backup from, say, Epic Games yesterday.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the lawsuit.
Yes. But also,
power.
Senator Mike Lee, does the Senate Judiciary take a look at this through the antitrust subcommittee?
Yeah, they've always said the California antitrust law. My problem has always been, everyone's problem has always been in the legal arguments is, do you want to do well, which means you pay the piper, or do you not want to do well, which means you don't pay the piper? And it really is a half-a-loaf situation. And I don't know why anyone thinks, I mean, look, maybe you go behind the scenes and you can say, look, I'd like a better deal. I can cut back your costs. You can cut back mine. And maybe that exists. My experience with Apple is you can tell them, like, they were using a lot of my stuff. And I was thinking, oh, maybe I ask them for, like, a discount. But it's not, you know, that's like going into Home Depot and saying, you know, the world, I see you got to wash your dryer for like $2,000 combination. Yeah. I'm willing to pay you $1,700 today. They're like, get out of here.
Yeah.
You're out of your mind? Well, this is Home Depot.
Others are pointing to the precedent that Apple has set regarding content moderation, namely the battle they had with Parler back in the day. Right. We remember that, right? And, well, is that a template for them to say?
They were able to crush Facebook. Crush it when they made it so you couldn't. Right. They can crush anybody, but they're not bad. They're good actors. I mean, what Apple's always been trying to do is make it so that the customer does better. They're the most customer-centric company in the world, which is why I always find anybody who thinks that they have monopolists. Yes, they're monopolists on trying to be a good citizen for you, the customer. And I don't know whether anyone ever reads anything by Tim Cook or listens to Tim Cook, but it's what the customer wants. Like, I once had a discussion with Tim about how my daughter didn't like the new plug. And, you know, initially he rebelled. And then he said, well, she's a customer. I wish we had been, this is a better product. In other words, he has always, that's what he's about.
Sure.
It's so true north. Name me another company that is thinking about the customer.
Meantime, Morgan Stanley, Adam Jonas, has a piece out today about whether or not Musk's involvement in Twitter has not only fed negative sentiment on the stock, but in his view and in the survey's view, could drive downside to fundamentals.
I absolutely just love that survey. Now, sometimes Jonas is hit or miss, but this was a hit. And the people who were in the survey and the numbers were really extraordinary. The Twitter bias, cautious bias, I loved it. And I find this much more valuable, say, than Tony Saganeghi's piece today, which basically says, look, I like it, I hate it, I like it, I hate it, $150, you know.
Right. Well, Adam,
you say potato,
I
say potato. I mean,
get to 150 and it's time to bring up the truck. That's what Jonas is saying. Test the 150 bear case.
Yeah, because in the end, it's the company that makes the most money in EV. Look, I think that people are really trying to figure out a way to when to get in front of Tesla. And what I thought about Tony's piece was incredible, as opposed to Jonas's. It's down 48% year to date. That's like what one of these really bad enterprise software companies is down. 48%. Yep. I mean, it's not 23andMe, but it's